Welcome to our channel. Today we have something truly chilling for you. Get ready to hear 3 true, creepy summer ghost stories that will haunt you. So turn off the lights, grab a blanket and prepare to be terrified, because these stories are not for the faint of heart. Our first story takes place in the heart of summer, deep within the whispering woods of Maine. A group of friends, eager to escape the city heat, decided to rent a secluded cabin for a week of fun and relaxation. Little did they know their idyllic getaway would soon transform into a nightmare. The cabin, nestled beside a lake reflecting the endless sky, appeared harmless enough. Sunlight streamed through the trees, dappling the wooden porch in a mosaic of light and shadow. Laughter echoed through the woods as the friends unpacked their bags, the air thick with the promise of adventure. But as the sun began to set, casting long, eerie fingers across the clearing, an unsettling feeling descended upon the group. The laughter died down, replaced by a tense silence. The once welcoming woods now seemed to press in on the cabin, the rustling leaves whispering secrets the friends couldn't understand. That night, as they huddled around a crackling fire, sharing stories and roasting marshmallows, they heard it for the first time, a soft scratching sound like fingernails dragging across the roof. It started subtly, almost imperceptible, but soon grew in intensity, sending shivers down their spines. One by one, they fell silent, their eyes darting nervously towards the cabin's darkened corners. The scratching continued relentlessly, as if some unseen entity was trying to claw its way in. Fear, thick and suffocating, filled the once cozy cabin. Witness one as Jake. Emboldened by a shared sense of unease, the bravest of the group, a young man named Jake, grabbed a flashlight and cautiously made his way upstairs, determined to find the source of the unsettling noise. The others held their breath, listening intently as his footsteps creaked on the wooden floorboards above. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream shattered the silence. The friends downstairs froze, their blood turning to ice. Jake's terrified voice echoed down the stairs. "Get out! Get out now!" Panic surged through the group as they scrambled to their feet, their hearts pounding in their chests. They raced out of the cabin and into the night, the terrifying scratching still echoing in their ears. Our next story takes us to the sun-drenched beaches of California, where the Pacific Ocean laps at the shore with an almost hypnotic rhythm. But beneath the surface of this idyllic summer paradise lies a chilling tale, a story whispered among locals and surfers alike. It's the story of the Ghostly Lifeguard, a young man named Danny who drowned tragically years ago, his body never recovered from the churning waves. Legend has it that Danny, unable to leave the beach he loved, now roams the shores as a spectral guardian, his presence felt but never truly seen. Witnessed too as surfer. It started with whispers, tales from tourists claiming to have seen a figure standing on the beach late at night, a lone silhouette against the moonlit waves. They described a young man with broad shoulders and a lifeguard's physique, his eyes reflecting the silver glow of the moon. Then came the stories from the surfers, those who braved the ocean's wrath in the early morning hours. They spoke of a sudden and inexplicable feeling of being pushed back to shore, a force they couldn't explain propelling them towards safety. Some even claimed to have heard a voice, faint but clear, urging them to be careful, to watch out for the riptide. Lifeguards, hardened by years of battling the ocean's unpredictable nature, dismissed the stories as folklore, the ramblings of tourists and thrill-seekers. But deep down, even they couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't quite right. One particularly stormy evening, as the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting an eerie glow across the churning waves, a group of teenagers decided to go for one last swim. Ignoring the warning flags and the lifeguards' pleas to stay out of the water, they plunged into the rough surf, their laughter swallowed by the roar of the ocean. Suddenly, a rogue wave, larger than any they had seen before, crashed down upon them, pulling them out to sea. Panic surged through the group as they struggled against the current, their bodies tossed and turned like rag dolls in the relentless waves. Witness 2 as lifeguard. Back on shore, the lifeguard on duty scanned the water anxiously, his heart pounding in his chest. He could barely make out the teenagers' bobbing heads in the distance, their screams for help lost in the wind. Just as he was about to radio for backup, he saw it. A figure emerged from the swirling mist, seemingly walking on water towards the struggling teenagers. The figure, tall and strong, moved with a purpose, reaching the group in what seemed like seconds. One by one, the teenagers were pulled back towards the shore, their limp bodies deposited gently on the sand. Chapter 3. The Phantom Camper. Our final story takes us deep into the heart of Yellowstone National Park, where towering trees cast long shadows and the air hums with the sounds of unseen creatures. It's a place of breathtaking beauty, but also one steeped in ancient legends and whispered tales of the supernatural. Witness 3 as Sarah. Our story centers on a young woman named Sarah, an avid hiker and nature enthusiast who decided to spend a week camping in the park's vast wilderness. Armed with a backpack full of supplies and a heart filled with anticipation, she set off on her adventure, eager to disconnect from the outside world and reconnect with nature. The first few days passed without incident. Sarah spent her time exploring hidden trails, marveling at the park's geothermal wonders and falling asleep under a canopy of stars. But as the days turned into nights, a sense of unease began to creep into her solitary haven. Witness 3 as Sarah. It started with a feeling, a prickling sensation on the back of her neck as if she was being watched. She dismissed it at first, attributing it to her overactive imagination. But as the feeling intensified, she couldn't shake off the unnerving sensation that she was not alone in the wilderness. One evening, as she was preparing her dinner over a crackling campfire, she heard a twig snap behind her. She froze, her heart pounding in her chest, and slowly turned to face the source of the noise. The firelight danced in the darkness, casting long, eerie shadows that seemed to writhe and twist in the periphery of her vision. Witness 3 as Sarah. There at the edge of the firelight stood a figure. Tall and gaunt, it was shrouded in a dark cloak that seemed to absorb the light, making it impossible to discern any features. Sarah's breath caught in her throat, her mind struggling to comprehend what her eyes were seeing. The figure took a step closer, and Sarah could feel the blood draining from her face. It moved with an unnatural fluidity, gliding over the forest floor as if it were weightless, its feet making no sound. Fear, primal and paralyzing, gripped Sarah, rooting her to the spot. Witness 3 as Sarah. She wanted to scream, to run, to do anything but stand there frozen in terror. But her body wouldn't obey. It was as if some unseen force had taken control, holding her captive in a nightmare. The figure stopped just beyond the reach of the firelight, its presence radiating an aura of pure dread. Sarah could feel its eyes on her, cold and piercing, boring into her very soul. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more chilling tales. Remember, the world is a strange and mysterious place, filled with shadows and whispers. Stay safe and sleep tight.